Hello again, and welcome to the Fifth Quarter Show Seasons, profiling the greatest years in the history of the Hamilton Tiger Cats. From year one in 1869 to the glory days of the 1950s and 60s, this has been a fun ride. Thanks to all of you who've subscribed to this channel, and if you like this video, please click the like button. And I encourage you to keep sharing your comments. Love reading your memories of players and teams of yesteryear. In episode 19 of the Fifth Quarter Show Seasons, let me take you back to the year that was 1986. Now, we left off in 1984, a year in which the Tiger Cats went 6-9-1, but ended up losing against the Blue Bombers in the Grey Cup in what was the first Hamilton-Winnipeg final since 1965. A new hockey arena opened in downtown Hamilton in 1985, named Copps Coliseum, after longtime Mayor Vic Copps. Later that same year, the HSR was the first transit system in North America to use natural gas vehicles. Rick Hansen launched his Man in Motion World Tour in 1985 to raise money for spinal cord research. The first cell phone call was made within Canada when the mayors of Toronto and Montreal connected. And Margaret Atwood's book, The Handmaid's Tale, was published. In 1986, negotiations began for the Canada-US Free Trade Agreement. Canada played in its first FIFA World Cup, and Copps Coliseum hosted the World Junior Hockey Championship, which was won by the Soviet Union over Team Canada. Following their loss in the 1984 Grey Cup, 34-year-old Ticats quarterback Dieter Brock left the team to join the NFL's Los Angeles Rams. That left Hamilton with quarterbacks Pete Gales, Jeff Tedford, rookie Tom Porras, and fellow rookie Ken Hobart, who played a few games in the USFL before he joined Edmonton and was then traded to the Ticats in the preseason. Hobart won the starting job and set the CFL record that season for most rushing yards by a quarterback when he racked up 928 yards. He was named an East All-Star and runner-up for the Most Outstanding Player award. Ticat safety Paul Bennett was named the league's top Canadian for the second time in 3 years and earned his third All-Star nod. Hamilton topped the East Division with 8 wins and 8 losses, marking the first time in CFL history that a team that finished in first place did not have a winning record. Despite that lackluster stat, the Ticats blasted Montreal 50-26 in the East Final to book a trip to the Grey Cup for the second year in a row. But just like that 1984 title game, the Ticats came up short when it mattered most. BC stormed out to a 13-0 lead by the second quarter. The Cats scored 2 TDs to take a 1-point lead, but the Lions took over from there and beat Hamilton 37-24. During the 1986 season, Tiger Cats owner Harold Ballard claimed that he had been losing $1 million a year and publicly criticized the team, calling the players a bunch of overpaid losers after the Ticats lost 5 of their first 6 games. The Cats gave the ball to rookie backup quarterback Mike Kerrigan, and he helped spark a 3-game winning streak, including a 42-7 Labor Day drubbing of Montreal, who are back to being called the Alouettes. The Ticats ended the season on a roll, winning their last 3 games to finish in second place in the East at 9-8-1, 1 point behind the first place Argos. Now, prior to the 86 season, the CFL decided to allow the 4th place team in one division to qualify for the playoffs if it had a better record than the 3rd place team in the other division. That year, Calgary was 4th in the West with a record of 11-7 and qualified over Montreal, who was 3rd in the East at 4-14. But Calgary did not cross over to the East like we've seen a few times in recent history. They had to play league-leading Edmonton in the West semifinal, while Winnipeg and BC met in the other semifinal out west. Now, over in the East, the new playoff format meant that Hamilton and Toronto would play a 2-game total point series, the first of its kind since 1972, the last time the Ticats had won the Grey Cup. Game 1 was played at Ivor Wynne Stadium, and it was dominated by the visitors, as Argos quarterback J.C. Watt scored 2 rushing touchdowns and passed for another as Toronto blasted Hamilton 31-17. Game 2 was held 7 days later at Exhibition Stadium. And it didn't start well for the Ticats, who lost offensive tackle John Malinowski to injury in the pregame warm-up. And then all-star cornerback Les Brown got hurt on the opening kickoff, leaving Hamilton without any backups on the O-line or secondary. To make matters worse, Toronto jumped out to a 15-3 lead in the first quarter to stretch their lead in the two-game total point series to 26 points. However, the tide changed in the second quarter. The Ticats scored their first touchdown to cut Toronto's lead down to 19 points, and then forced the Argos to punt from midfield. But Toronto's backup long snapper flung the ball way over punter Hank Alisic's head, and he was tackled at the Argos' 12-yard line. A couple of plays later, the Ticats scored another touchdown, and the lead for Toronto was now down to 12 points. Alisic shanked his next punt for only 8 yards, and the Ticats used that possession to score another TD, and Toronto's lead was now down to just 5 points heading into halftime. Hamilton took a 52-49 lead in the fourth quarter on a field goal by rookie Paul Osbaldiston, only to see the Argos retake the total point lead 56-52 when Watts threw a touchdown to Keith Baker. But Kerrigan engineered an 83-yard drive that ended with a TD to Ron Ingram, as Hamilton won the two-game Total Point East final in epic fashion, 59-56. After the game, Ballard said, quote, "You guys may still be overpaid, but after today, no one can call you losers." Now, you would have blamed the 86 Ticats if they treated the East final like it was their Grey Cup. But even after that emotional roller coaster, Hamilton felt disrespected when they were massive underdogs against the 13-4-1 Eskimos in the 74th Grey Cup in BC. The title game was a blowout, essentially over at halftime, and it was the Ticats who were roaring. Hamilton's defense, led by Ben Zambiazzi and Grover Covington, sacked quarterbacks Matt Dunnigan and Damon Allen 10 times and forced 8 turnovers. The Cats led 29-0 at the half and won 39-15. Was their first championship since 1972. Kerrigan was the game's MOP, Covington was tops on defense, and Ozzie was the most outstanding Canadian after he booted a Grey Cup record 6 field goals. Hamilton had just completed their third straight trip to the Grey Cup and finally won it, capping off a wild and wacky year. In our next installment of seasons, the Ballard era comes to an end and more championship heartbreak. Thanks for subscribing. Click that thumbs up. Share your memories of the 86 championship team in the comments. Until next time, Oskee Wee Wee.